Voilà, Monsieur Paul Thomas Anderson, le maître. Huh, you're reading my note. Well, Paul Thomas Anderson, what was, 5 years after There Will Be Blood, what was your original impulse in writing The Master? And really, who came first in your writing mind? Was it the sailor soldier or was it The Master? Voilà, un peu l'origine. Qu'est-ce qui a poussé Paul Thomas Anderson à écrire The Master? Et finalement, quel est le personnage qu'il a imaginé tout d'abord? Est-ce qu'il a imaginé d'abord le ex-marine ou d'abord le maître?
The story about Freddie I had first, the kind of story of a sailor who he was more comfortable probably at sea than on land, and I had just a series of events for that character, but until he met the Master.
Well, we can quite easily understand Freddie's attraction to the Master, but how would you explain the Master's attraction, so to speak, to Freddie? What makes Freddie so special that he attracts the Master's attention?
It's funny. I feel the same way in reverse. It's much. It's really much more under. It was always easier for me to understand what the Master saw in Freddie. That was always very clear to me, which is weakness and low self-esteem, and those are the negative things, the sort of negative kind of personality traits. But in addition to that, he saw a friend, somebody to drink with and to dance with and to party with. That really appealing thing that happens when somebody comes into your life that by all accounts you should have no connection with at all, but something just snaps and you feel that you've seen them before, you've met them before, you're meant to be friends. I always had to kind of ask myself, why does Freddie stay around, you know, because he has such an impulse to go away, or but and one thing that that Joaquin came up with and found was for a lot of these sailors that had been in the war, that when they came back from the war, they felt very aimless because they didn't have any commander anymore. You know, that they liked being they enjoyed the part of the military that was very structured, that gave them a commander, that if they had a commander that they connected to and they liked very much, they really liked working for them. They liked being guided. And to come back to reality, or not reality, but to come back to home and life back here, to not have that was very disorienting. So I can see Freddie's attraction to this commander, this master.
Il pourrait ressembler à ce master qui a changé votre vie, en fait.
In your life or in Korea, did you ever meet someone who you could call a master? I mean, someone who deeply changed your ways and your life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. No, I mean, because my first thought was just within my profession, you know, the way that I felt about Robert Altman, the way that I looked up to him, and the way that he was so kind to me. But to imply that we had a similar relationship, that would be a mistake, you know. It just was not that at all. But it's the sort of first thing that popped into my mind, quickly followed by the fact that, you know, the woman that I'm with and who we've been with for 10 years and I have 3 kids with, she occurs to me as a master. In terms of that question, in terms of making a huge impact on your life and changing the course of it, you know, but even a friend, you know, even Philip, I consider a similar relationship, just in terms of how much you can meet someone and how they can inform the flow of the rest of your life, you know. When that happens, it's very strong, you know, and it's not just in relationships we have that make family or kids, but in friendships as well. My friendship with Phil is one of the strongest that I have. And, you know, through my life, I've you know, from my father to, you know, to some other men that I know recently, I've had very close relationships to older men, very strong, intelligent men. some kind of attraction to that. So yeah.
Well, when we see your film, I mean, we're absolutely struck by Joaquin Phoenix's performance because it's almost scary. And you really wonder if at any point his health was at stake or something. Did you also at one point, I mean, almost feared for his health or for his state of mind?
No. I mean, you don't. No, you know, it's sort of simple to say, but he's acting, you know, and it's really, really good acting. He gives the impression that he's just has no idea what he's doing, and it's just this animal that's walked into where there's a bunch of movie cameras that happen to be on, and it's the highest compliment of acting. I mean, it would be a mistake to think that he is not in complete command of himself and these ideas. He's an incredibly inventive actor and incredibly instinctual and unpredictable, but he's also very intelligent too. So usually those things don't mix together. You know, you usually don't get that combination. Sometimes you get intelligent actors that are very cold and can't be instinctual. But Joaquin, I think, enjoys flirting with danger, enjoys getting very close to dangerous situations. He's much like Daniel in that way. Daniel did it very similar. That seems like it's not worth doing unless somebody gets lit on fire or something. The best that I can do is write good scenes for them, or scenes that are at least close enough for them to get started, and that's usually when I feel pretty good, because they've got something to do. It's a trouble when I write bad scenes and I ask them to do it, and and there's no way they can fix it and they can save it, and that's always horrible. But one of the things that can be good, I suppose, is it's like simple communication. I mean, it's as simple as that. Like, the worst thing in the world for actors, I think, is when they don't know what the whole day is going to be. You know, if you kind of you come to work in the morning and you make a plan about what you're going to do, and hopefully you can understand how many shots you'll need. And it sounds very, very simple, but it really goes a long way, because when things really go bad on a movie set is when you start shooting more shots than you need. Everything starts to unravel, and because they can get physically spent or tired, and it sounds so simple, but it really is the most helpful you can be, is like a secretary to say, here's what we need, and how to budget your time and their energy, because it's like the kind of thing we're talking about, like with Joaquin. It's very athletic, you know, it's like very physical, so you have to take into account that kind of thing, because he'll keep going as much as he can, but they just run out of energy. It's just this, you know, he can't do things, you know, over and over and over and over again. And I don't really like to do a lot of takes. I'm not something like, you know, those directors with 90 takes and stuff like that. We don't really do that. So.
Well, of course, we're dealing about post-war America, traumatic experiences. Was there something in you that, in a way, prompted you to explore those years, the 50s, so to speak?
Oh fuck! I mean, it's like it's like saying, you know, just like trying to figure out why you've fallen in love with your wife. You know, you maybe she's got a good sense of humor and she's got pretty eyes, but what have you really said? You haven't said exactly anything. You've just sort of listed these things, and you know, there's an obvious element of, you know, kind of parallels to things that I was researching about Dianetics and L. Ron Hubbard, and that was kind of the 50s, you know, and that, the more I looked at that stuff, it felt like a very fertile time to tell a story, and, you know, really good, you know, simple reasons too, sort of fashion reasons, good costumes, good cars, good music, you know, that's enough of a reason too. But beyond that, you have better reasons, like, you know, understanding a gravity towards a time, like, it's my dad's era too, you know, so all that kind of stuff that music is stuff that I was familiar with, that he would listen to. It appealed to me. There was just a draw to it, you know, appeal that those are the reasons why I can put my finger on. I'm sure there's other reasons I can't put my finger on, but, you know, I don't know, like, I don't, we were just in the Louvre and looking at all the Egyptian stuff, and it's amazing, and I'm looking at it, but it doesn't make me salivate, you know. You know, when I see this time, when I look at this time post-war, I just start to salivate, my eyes water, something about it. So I don't, why? I don't know.
You said earlier that sometimes when you meet somebody for the first time, you have the impression of having met him or her in another life, in another past life. Do you believe, like the master of your film, that we have many lives to live?
I do.
Ah.
Yeah, I do. I hope. And if I thought that before a little bit, just in the course of getting ready to do this film and looking into all these ideas, you know, that are presented, I think that I kind of formulated a much stronger feeling about it, a much more hopeful feeling that that's the case. But who's to say? I don't know. I'd like to, yeah, I love that thought. I love thinking about it. It's the only way to sometimes explain some feelings that you have for people or places, or it's the only good reason I think I can see to explain some of these things that come over you, you know.